May God add a blessing to the reading of His Word. This is Genesis chapter 4 and 2 through 5. Chapter 2, verse 2. Later, she gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel kept flocks and Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord. And Abel also brought an offering, fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry and his face cast down. That is the New International Version. I'm trying to see if we have a King James Version. Trying to see if there's a King James Version available. That's usually what we read from. And I don't see it. But that's usually what we read from. So when you go back to this, there's two things that it says. It says, now Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord. And Abel brought an offering, fat portions, and some of the firstborn of his flock. And the firstborn are the most purest when it comes to that. And it's just this says some. So I really want to get the King James Version to see how it differs, just to see if there's a difference, and then we can find out what the exact terminology meant with this. So I was always confused I always thought it was a thing about meat because, one brought meat and the other brought fruits. So in my mind, I thought it was something about the fruits being, maybe bad or something. But it seems that it is more than that. Right? So again, it says, King James, and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Anytime we hear but, I'm coming over, but I'm going to be an hour late. So the but sort of connotates something. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offering. Unto Cain and his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. It basically says the same thing, just using different words. So it sounds like that the Bible is implying that maybe maybe Cain didn't bring the best, because it doesn't say first fruits. It just says, but Cain was on the soil. Was the soil cursed? It doesn't. I don't believe that Genesis records the soil of the earth being cursed. This was after Adam and Eve were pushed out of the garden. We know that all the trees in the garden were definitely blessed. So there was nothing wrong with those trees. So it says that Abel brought the firstlings, the fattest of the flock. So was Cain trying to slight God with his offering? it doesn't say much about their characters. Jesus was a shepherd of men. Shepherds go through the Bible, and they said that was a hard job back then. So my thoughts on it always was there was something wrong with the offering that Cain gave. That's how I was thinking. But when I sit and read it now, it's I don't think it has anything to do with the fruits per se. I think that it was the way he brought it to him, not offering God the very best. And Abel chose the very best of of his offering. And the Bible says God didn't respect it. God was displeased. And I don't know if Cain knew what was coming, but this perpetuated the first act of violence recorded in the Bible. We know that afterwards, Cain slew Abel. So I guess that we can say that when offering God something, you probably should offer the very best and not try to slight God, who is aware of any and all things. You can't bring not the best. You say the best for yourself and you offer God something, doesn't seem right. Abel somehow, whether he knew this, it doesn't say, but we know what the Bible records, that he offered the firstlings of his flock and the fat thereof. So I think the moral of this story is simply don't slight God, your offering, because we offer God our prayers, offer him the very best sincere prayers. If we offer him our worship, offer him the very best and sincere worship. If we offering God our service, offer him the very best of your services. If we offer him tithes, offer him the very best of your tithes, because you don't want him to reject your offering. And if you feel like God's rejecting your offering, for God's sake, don't let your emotions get involved and you react in a way that is Cain-like. That's not it. So I'm thinking and hoping that the Spirit speaks to us when it comes time to make an offering to God, and that we only bring our very best. I don't think that there was anything wrong with the soil. I don't think that. I think that this is a deliberate illustration of someone's character. We know for a fact that sometimes we don't offer our very best. I've said this 100 times. If I had 100 jobs, I've never gave one 110%. And that's just the way I felt. It was in me not to trust the job, or for whatever reason, I never did. But with God, I think God requires that 110%. Not only does he require it, but if you were to give 110%, the Bible says God is a reward of those who diligently seek him. So God rewards those who do that. So, Cain, we know what happened to Cain. He got cast out, but God put a mark on him so wouldn't nobody hurt him. I believe he went to the land of Nod, and the story goes on. But the illustration here is the gifts, the offerings. If you have an opportunity to offer anything to God, try to give it your best. Try to offer your best. Be sincere, and God will acknowledge it.